How is it going, everyone? It's Caleb here, and today we are going to be talking about LEGO Star Wars, the original trilogy on the Xbox Series X. This is obviously an Xbox 360 game, but it is backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X, and since it is backwards compatible, I'm going to title this an Xbox Series X review because I don't know what the difference is in terms of performance between the 360 version and this Series X version will be, because the Series X does give a little bit of a boost to these 360 games. So for that reason, I'm going to say Xbox Series X. But let's go ahead and talk about LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. I almost called it the original saga. The original trilogy, first of all, this game is not my favorite of the LEGO Star Wars games. I actually still like the first game more than this one, but that is because I am more of a prequel guy. I just like the prequels more, and I just, I have a thing for Dexter's Diner more than Mos Eisley Cantina. I just have always loved Dexter's Diner. It's always been my favorite, hub world in any video game I've ever played. So I just kind of have a strong connection to that. So while I may not like this game as much as the first game, I still think that this is a good game in its own right, and it's still a really good game. And I think if you are a fan of Star Wars in general or a fan of the original trilogy, you're going to love this game. It's just like the first one in terms of the fact that it is a platformer, collectathon style game where you are going through levels, doing platforming, taking down enemies with your lightsaber, blaster, or whatever you are using, and also solving puzzles at the same time. But this game does some stuff a little bit different because they introduced some new features. First of all, they introduced a build feature, which was not in the first LEGO Star Wars game. The build feature lets you build things on the map. So if you see a switch and it's broken down or whatever, you can actually just put it together using Lego pieces, and it's kind of a cool feature, and I've always liked that addition to the game. I think that was a welcome addition. Obviously it's a Lego game, so why not have more building in it? And it just creates more stuff for you to use in puzzles, and it just adds more to the puzzles overall. So I do like the building aspect of it. Another thing they did is that they added more classes of characters that can open doors. So in the original Star Wars game, I think it was pretty much just astromech droids and protocol droids that could open doors. But in this one, they've changed it a little bit. Now stormtroopers have doors that they can open. Now bounty hunters have doors that only they can open, and things like that. So they did add some new restrictions for certain areas, and they've even added those restrictions in vehicle levels. There's some vehicle levels in this game, and if you don't have the right starship, you're not going to be able to enter certain areas on those levels. And that brings me to this point. The collectibles in this game are a lot harder to find than they were in the first LEGO Star Wars game, and that obviously is to add more replay value. I still prefer the way the first game is. I just think the first game is almost perfect in every single way. So for me, just making more, just adding more layers of difficulty in terms of just finding stuff doesn't really do much for me. Because it's not like it's more difficult or anything like that. It just requires more playthroughs of the same level. Again, I get it for replay value, but at the end of the day, these days, I don't do a whole lot of replaying on the same game unless I'm really, really just in love with that game. And while I do like this game a lot, I don't want to replay the same level 10 times anymore. As an adult, I just don't have that same interest. I want to enjoy something, leave for a while, and then maybe a year later come back to it or something like that. It's no longer a game that I will binge just over and over and over again. I just don't have that in me anymore to want to do that. But there is plenty of replay value. They definitely, made this game with that replay value in mind. The actual game itself and all the characters and everything, it all controls very well. All the puzzles work very well. I think that the levels are a little bit too long in this one, in my opinion. I think they lasted a little bit too long, but again, they just wanted to add more replay value, more bang for your buck, and I completely get that. I just prefer the a little bit shorter levels. And I'm not a huge fan of the vehicle levels in this game. I know that a lot of people like the vehicle levels in this game, but I actually think that the first LEGO Star Wars game, where it was more like a Star Fox style, vehicle levels where you're kind of on rails, I just feel like that was so much better than the vehicle levels you get in this. They were just a lot more fun. This one, the vehicle controls just feel really clunky. They're just kind of aggravating to use, and just trying to avoid obstacles constantly because they just throw your asteroid fields and everything else. Just trying to avoid those things is just a pain in the butt, and it makes for a more frustrating experience than it does a fun experience. Again, I know that sounds like I'm probably bashing this game pretty hard, but I do still like this game. There's just certain aspects of it that I definitely don't like compared to the first one. A couple other features that they added that weren't in the first LEGO Star Wars game that I think are actually pretty welcome upgrades would definitely be the fact that characters that use blasters now have a melee attack as well. So if you get like surrounded by enemies, your character can just start bashing them. And that helps a lot because in LEGO Star Wars 1, you didn't have that option. You know, you just kind of had to keep jumping around using your blaster. But this one, your character can literally just holster his blaster and start punching. And that is a huge help. And it's also fun because some characters have special animations like Chewbacca. He can just rip the arms off of stormtroopers, which is really fun. So I definitely enjoy that. Another thing that they added, I talked about the doors that are to certain, like, you know, classes like bounty hunters and stormtroopers. There's actually helmets that you can get in this game. There's these like little helmet deposit stations that you can go to, and if you go to them, it will put a helmet on your character, and it will put a stormtrooper helmet, or it could put a bounty hunter helmet, and it will basically let you go into those doors just as any character as long as you're wearing that helmet. So that's a pretty cool feature as well, and that is something that's welcome. I think those type of upgrades that just add more to the, you know, unlocking doors and just more to the combat and just more to that stuff. I think those changes are fantastic, and they did a great job just adding more of that stuff to this game. In terms of collectibles, a lot of the stuff that you're used to are, of course, back in this game. The studs are back in this game. Mini kits are back in this game, but mini kits are a lot harder to find in this one and will require more than one playthrough to get them. And there's also more gold bricks in this game. I don't remember any gold bricks actually in the first game. I don't think there were gold bricks, so I believe that's a brand new addition as well. And there's also power bricks. Power bricks are basically the new way to unlock cheat codes. You can go buy cheat codes from the store, but the only way you can buy them is if you go and find the red power brick in each level. So each level has one hidden red power brick that you have to find in it, and that definitely is not a bad feature. I don't think that's actually a bad thing. I actually think that just adds more to the collectability in this game, and I do enjoy the collecting aspects of the LEGO games a lot. You get quite a few different levels in this one. Obviously, you're going to be on Tatooine a lot since the original trilogy takes place on Tatooine a lot, but you're going to get some cool areas like Jabba's Palace is a really cool map. I really like that one a lot. I actually really like the first Hoth level in this game, and I do like being on the Tantive 4 at the beginning of the game as well. I think all of those are pretty good, and I enjoy those. There's some bonus levels that you can get if you collect enough golden bricks, but I don't care for a whole lot of the bonus levels. The one bonus level I will say I like is when you unlock Lego City, and that's probably the one thing that is actually like worth replaying the game and unlocking. But everything else is just kind of meh in terms of the actual unlockables. I do like the characters though, and I like that you can still unlock the characters like you can in the first game. You go up and you buy them from the person working the counter, and if you buy the characters, you then get access to their pieces. Well, a lot of the characters, you get access to their pieces for the Build-A-Character mode, because they actually added Build-A-Character in this game, where you can build your own custom Lego minifigure and use that in the missions. And I always loved that one. That was a really cool idea. And being able to just create a Jedi that also has, like, you know, if you use Greedo's head, like a Rodian head, if you use that, then you're a Jedi that has bounty hunting capabilities. So you have, like, you can open bounty hunter doors, and you can also throw thermal detonators that only bounty hunters can. Doing stuff like that is pretty cool, and I like that sort of thing. I like that you can give them a red lightsaber, and it will immediately make them so they can use the dark side of the Force and use, you know, the dark side items and stuff like that, like unlock doors that only Darksiders can. I think that's cool that they did that as well. You can use your creative characters once you beat a mission. It will let you go back through in free play and play through the mission again, just like in the first game. But this time you do get to use your creative characters, which is pretty cool. And they actually separated the Jedi power bar in this game, so collecting studs, which is the money in this game, you collect it and you can fill your Jedi power bar in story mode, but it actually has a second bar that you can fill if you play it in free play mode, which makes it, again, just more replayability. This game gives you a lot of bang for your buck, and that's a good thing if you are gaming on a budget and you want a game that will last you quite some time. This game will definitely last you quite some time. They have a lot of features in this game and a lot of stuff to keep you interested and keep you wanting to play. And I know some people will probably look at this and be like, well, what about the complete saga? What about LEGO Star Wars 3, the complete saga? We'll talk about that one in a future video, but I will say I still think that even though there is one game that has all of the missions in it combined and adds some, this game is still worth playing on its own as well, because it still has some differences. The hub world, even though it is most likely Cantina, still has some differences, and I still like a lot of the differences that each one of these LEGO Star Wars games has. So I think that they're worth playing just to see those. And I really do enjoy this game. It is a fun game, despite some of the things that I actually could have done without. But overall, it's still a really fun game. If you like Star Wars, especially the original trilogy, you're going to love this game. You're going to have some of your favorite characters. You're going to have, of course, Boba Fett. You're going to have Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, Lando Calrissian. You're going to have so many great characters. You're going to have the Ewoks. I know people love the Ewoks, right? Maybe not. But you're going to have a lot of great characters that you can play as, and you're going to have a really fun time with it. And it's just, it gives you episode 4 through 6 in a really fun way. Gives you just those great cutscenes where the LEGO people don't talk, and it's just kind of like parodies of the movie scenes and stuff like that. And they did a great job with that in this game as well. And just everything is on point in terms of the story, the story mode, the missions, the comedy, all that stuff. It's on point. They did a great job with it, and I love all of that stuff. And the actual gameplay itself is very fun. And I do like the majority of this game. I think the majority of this game is a good. So thank you guys for watching. Go check out LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, on the Xbox Series X or Xbox 360 or PS2 or however you want to play it. It's on many different systems. So go check it out. I'll talk to you in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.